What's up guys, my name is Bella and welcome to another frog food. It has been a minute, hasn't it? Sorry. Today we're going to be going through my entire process making this piece, meaning I'm just going to talk about what I did and how I did. If you want to see more of my art, you can follow me on Instagram at Bella of My Froggy Stuff. And without further ado, let's get started. First up is materials. I'm actually going to show you guys everything I used for this piece. So, Apple Pencil, iPad Pro, this is the new one, the newer, smaller one. The first brush I use is the Raw Texture brush from the Snatty brush pack. It's like $2 on ArtStation. I use it for everything, for like my rough sketches and that sort of stuff. The next, I shade with the round wet sketch brush. I don't color with it, but I do shade with it. I got it from Blue Satan on Instagram, so you can get that from her. I use this round brush. I think this is from Ross Draws, and it has a neat. I usually use it on a low opacity, like I just did. I have this airbrush. This literally comes with the app Procreate, so you can just get it from there. There's no special things on it. That's regular airbrush. I use this technical pen for line art sometimes. But for this particular piece, I used this technical pen that I edited, so it would be like each time you write, the opacity gets darker, but I don't have to turn down the opacity for that, you know? So yeah, I use this sparkle brush from Ross Draws. It just gives me like automatic dots, so I don't really have to do a lot of work for it. And this ink brush from Ross Draws. I use this for the shine later in the piece, so yeah. Before I even start drawing my piece, I do these things called thumbnail sketches. Some people also call them napkin sketches, but basically it's just you drawing these little rectangles and figuring out what you want the piece to look like in the most general sense possible. Where are you putting the characters? What's the shape going on? Where's the lighting coming from? That sort of thing. So here I have like what I thought I wanted the Halloween poster to look like. There's like, am I gonna do a witch? Am I gonna do a cowboy or a clown? I ended up having like 6 general ideas here, and I went with this one where they're like in the forest looking for something. There's not much story past that, but that's what we have going on. So first step is the rough sketch. My rough sketch is where I'm just figuring things out. I'm completely reliant on my thumbnail because that's like my plan. You know, I knew I wanted everything to be very straight up and down. A lot of vertical lines with like the towering trees. I didn't get things to look as towering as I wanted it to, but notice I'll have the characters start off big and then I shrink them later. That's because I wanted the trees to look humongous. During this stage, the most important thing for me is anatomy. I want to make sure my anatomy is correct before I start line art, because when I'm doing line art, I only want to think about line art. So here I take a lot of reference photos. I will pop some up down here. I can't show you the funny ones because my mom said I can't. I basically just have her stand in front of a wall and I take photos of her like holding something or like her hand in a certain way. And then, or I'll do it to myself too, but sometimes I can't like take photos of my own shoulders. Like I guess I could, but I don't, you know? And so for all that sort of stuff, I make sure to have it like very precise. And then I simplify it even more to make sure it's like very anime-like and not too anatomically correct. Mom's character, like the one kneeling down, is very long. Her limbs are a little long and it's kind of weird, but we're gonna let it work. I also, in this stage, sketch everything like shading wise, and I make sure I figure all my shading out first before I start coloring. Now I'm starting the line arts. Think of line art like the lines in a coloring book that you color inside of. That's basically what it is. So when I do my line art for this piece, I really wanted to go back to the way I was shading in my first 2 frog food videos. So I kept it really simple and really thin this time, so I had more work to do when I was shading. My personal rule of thumb is like, if you have thicker, more complicated line art, then you do less work coloring. And if you have simple line art, then you do more work coloring. That's just my personal rule of thumb when I'm like changing my style every week. A lot of people don't go by this rule and it turns out great, but that's just what I do. Here I start to color, and all I'm thinking about is the color palette. I really wanted a black and orange Halloween. That's my favorite Halloween color combination of all time, but I couldn't really do black because black had to be like in the background for depth in the background and stuff, so I had to go with a purpley, like gray color that's kind of brown. It did what I wanted to do, so I'm not mad at it. For Mom's or Toya's costume though, I had to make it gray instead of black. Star Trek costumes are black, but it had to be gray because I need black in the background for depth. And I guess if you're thinking about like these sort of pieces where you have a background like this, your black can never be black. It has to be something else. So now I'm coloring Bella. For this, I was really just worried about where the light is coming from, and that was how I was deciding to color and shade. I shaded before, remember, in my rough sketch, so I was pretty much just referencing that photo and doing it now, but I had to figure out the way the coat was bending. I had to figure out the way the jeans, like her jean shorts were bending. So I was referencing a lot of like just photos of jeans, just photos of coats, and just trying to figure it out. I literally couldn't find any coats like this, so I was like, well, we'll just figure it out, I guess. My idea was that since she has a flashlight right here, the light would be coming this way and this way. So like there should be a shadow here and like that sort of thing. But that's not how flashlights work. They don't emit light backwards. So it doesn't actually make any sense, but we had to suspend reality to make the scene work. So whatever. It kind of looks good because she also has like light coming this way on her hat, and that would not even happen. But it's all right. It looks okay. I'm into it. We needed to be able to see her face. Around here, you'll see some bandages on her knees and on her arm. I decided to promptly change gears and not do that. I added some like torn up lace stockings instead. Right now, yeah, I'm changing it like right now. For that, I did that because the lace stockings was like, you looked at it once, you could tell what it was. But for the bandages, they were kind of scattered. They were kind of all over the place, and it could have done weird things, you know? And I also didn't really like the story it was telling, like what was wrong with her? Why is she all like messed up like this? Like it was kind of, I mean, I wanted it to be scary, but I didn't want it to be that scary. Yeah, especially since there's a massive like Bigfoot like footprint under her. It was doing weird things. I wasn't trying to give anybody nightmares, so. As for the actual character design, you can see my character has a very homemade costume. She made the cape in like an hour at home, very last minute, threw together some lace stockings and some tennis shoes and some like shorts and shoes done. And Toya went all out. She got the full costume like from the actual TV show. She's out here doing everything. She has like a little emblem that I draw later that is like, looks like it could be real. Like she wasn't playing around. By the time I got to Toya, I had some serious fatigue. I was kind of tired from drawing so much. So then I remembered I have this little friend called an airbrush and clipping masks. My two best friends and the multiply layer setting. I absolutely love these three things. Clipping masks are basically like a setting where whatever you draw on a top layer doesn't go outside of whatever you drew on the bottom layer. So you draw a triangle, right? You put a clipping mask on top of that, and like if you draw another color on top of the triangle, it won't go outside the triangle. So that's what a clipping mask is. And I use that a lot. I use it a lot. And you can also change your layer setting when you're using clipping masks. So if you change your layer setting to multiply, it'll make whatever color the bottom layer is automatically darker. So you don't have to go in and color pick and find a darker color to use. It automatically makes it darker. And that really, really helps when you're trying to go fast and not trying to think about the way colors actually work and you want to cheat. Pro hack right there. Toya's costume had a lot of folds, and the way that I kind of approach those is think about a muscle. When you're like trying to draw someone's muscle, right? You have one part that goes in and one part that goes back out. And the part that goes in is going to be darker than the part that goes back out. So you're going to shade in the darker part a lot, and then you're going to find either the same color as their skin tone or a lighter color than their skin tone, and you're gonna put it right under that line. It makes it look really realistic, and that's what I do for folds and like knees and like hands and things like that. Now I'm starting the background. The main focal, or the main thing in the background, is the trees. So I had to make sure the trees in the front were lighter than the trees in the back. So the trees in the back didn't get a lot of shading. The trees in the front did. It was really just a lot of the technique where I have like really sharp shadows and then like light right next to it. So I make sure, so it looks really like abrupt and like crazy, which is what I was going for. I didn't reference a ton of trees when I was doing this. I was just kind of thinking like, what do trees look like? That's what I was doing in my head. I didn't look at a lot of real trees. I probably should have, but I didn't. There's also a big like ground element. I tried to do like a Bigfoot foot sort of thing. It kind of worked. For the star of the show, we have the flashlight. I was doing this and I realized I have no idea what it looks like when a flashlight is pointing at a camera. So I was at school and I was like, let me just point my phone flashlight at my iPad. That's what I did. And I think the picture should be up here somewhere where you look at it. But yeah, I do that all the time. You just like, if you don't know what something looks like, just take a picture of you doing it or your friend doing it, and that gives you a pretty good idea of what that thing looks like in real life. I had to make it look a little whimsical. It kind of looks like an energy ball, like she has like a superpower of some sort, but it's not. That's not what that is. So overall though, I think it looks pretty nice with the dust particles. I was like, earlier I was looking at this and I was like thinking of spores from Stranger Things, but they're just dust, if we're being honest. It's just dust. And here is the finished product. To talk about the graphic design stuff a little bit, I really wanted to make it look like a movie poster. And if anyone knows about the Cannes Film Festival, then you know about like how the movie posters there look so good. Like every year they look amazing. So I pulled some inspiration from there. I just kind of combined a ton of them into like this. I guess the movie would be called Big. I guess like Bigfoot sort of thing. Happy Halloween sort of vibes. And we have the little XOA thing in the corner. Looks like the Cannes Film Festival. They have a little like circle with a leaf in it. And I was like, oh, that's cute. So I did that too. Yeah. I did actually draw a Bigfoot like footprint and like under her feet. If you look for it, it's there. It didn't end up being the focal point. The focal point ended up being the light, which is fine, but it is there for you to look at. So yeah, pay attention to little things, because I hide stuff in my art sometimes. Hopefully this looks like a movie that you would want to see. I don't know, let me know in the comments what you think. Thank you for joining me for another frog food. Let me know in the comments what you would like to see next. You want to see more commentaries? You want to see more tutorials? You want to see like a draw with me sort of vibe? We just like draw and chill? Let me know. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. Make sure to follow me on Instagram at Bella of My Froggy Stuff, and follow us on Instagram at My Froggy Stuff and The Frog Vlog. And we'll see you next time. Bye!